Okay, okay. Okay, we are now officially live on the fifth episode of the podcast, otherwise known as the WADcast, featuring your host Wad with co-host Evan Long, and our guest for today, Santi, who
God damn it, Wad.
Oh God!
So, hey, Santi, why don't you just repeat everything you said over the last 15 minutes?
All right, so
God damn it, Wad. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, okay. I'm muting myself for a bit.
the first thing we covered was the
Trinity
I would say
versus
Battle of
Brittany
the
and all that.
Admin versus Trin and Preet. In regards to more or less, we know what went down, where they had a clash regarding another member of the staff. They started pointing guns at each other. Shoot me. You gonna shoot me? Nah, you shoot first. And then Preet shot. Trinity's account got deleted. The rest is history.
Yeah.
Now, after that, we began talking about the alley itself, the role I had in more or less steering the direction and the changes to have the blender and the chatterbox archived so that we can bring both of the communities, which individually were dead, now are prospering happily together in a wonderful shitpost utopia.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, And before Wad realized that we weren't currently live, we were discussing.
Your relationships with all the communities that you're part of, which is vast and numerous, after being modded.
Yes. So, as you pointed out, in at least 12 different NF related discords with a multitude of people I've just met and got close to over the years, I suppose. I suppose I've always been someone who was very friendly, very outgoing. So I just talk to people. Hey, you're cool. I think you're cool too. Great. And it moves them from there, whether it's from mafia, gaming, shit posting, anime, whatever.
Fucking anime.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
Oh, let your dad know that you're an internet celebrity. You know, very famous on a Filipino finger painting forum. But
No, my mom listens to these podcasts.
really now, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Didi. I'm gonna. Let's see. Am I better now, guys? Like I was being told I was quiet, so I hopefully. Well, it's a good thing I was quiet earlier on, or not early on, rather when I started the the live
The guffawing.
because of the guffawing. Yes, that would have been very ear-shattering, deafening if people had heard that, at max volume. Anyways, right. So I mean, the communities that I'm a part of, I guess, would be like the U Rouge fan club, the Mafia community, you know, the League of Legends thread community, which has pretty much gone off NF for like several years now. Uh, let's see, there was like the Chatterbox, all that stuff. I mean, like, it pretty much Santi has always been there. Like any Discord on NF that I'm in, he's also in. Oh, the Heart, of course, very old legacy community with a very rich history. But yeah, Santi is definitely, what I would consider more of the one of the more well-rounded members as far as having his presence in most places. So that's as far as that goes for being modded, that was a good choice. I don't know about how relevant you were to the Dragon Ball section when you got modded, but I remember there was some vague outcry that it should have been Blade or some shit from like some artist. But from what it appears, you become accepted or even liked there now. I don't know because green text Dragon Ball, but uh, that seems to be going well. And then of course now you've branched out to the alley and the mafia section, and I'm interested to see. I mean, as far as the alley goes, the alley of course has been a pretty big success, as some would have predicted. I don't know about your presence in the Mafia section so far. Your presence in Mafia games has certainly not changed. but, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested to see where the Mafia section things goes. But I'm pretty sure the future of Mafia NF is branching out to different sections, as I've done in recent times with the Chatterbox and the Alley and whatnot. But hey, we'll see what happens there. Anyways, all right. What would be next on the cast? What should we discuss? Let me think about it. All right. Let's talk about food. Santi, you are well known for being a man who has a very, how would I say, cultivated palate. He insists that cheese is one of the courses in fine dining. I'm not sure I agree about an entire course of cheese. But you know, as expected, a rat tea, I think. Oh, we're back to roasting Santi. Who would have thought? Let's go. Anyways, all right. So, what have you eaten lately, Santi? What besides cookout? I would presume. What has like been like the greatest, or rather, most delectable meal you've had in recent days or maybe weeks?
Well, right down the street from me, there's a restaurant that's owned by my family friends called Faux Super Nine, and I go there almost every week for a wide variety of unique, well, not necessarily unique, very traditional Vietnamese style food from pho, which is, if you don't know, it's a beef. It's a soup that's made out of beef broth and glass noodles
Oh
to
yeah,
make
it's
a very
quite good. Yeah.
herby type of soup that's type of similar to ramen, but more heavier on vegetables, I would say, and herbs. Of course, today I was there actually, and I had a delicious banh mi with barbecue pork and fried egg on some nice French bread. Very, very hearty meal.
Excellent. That sounds pretty good. How is it cost
Wow.
wise? Because I mean, you a po nigga from my understanding. So you know who's paying for your eats?
Well, that's probably my greatest financial issue.
Not having
When it
money
comes to
isn't a
food,
financial issue.
I have absolutely no regard for budget when it comes to food.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like I will legit drop $200 a week just on eating if I'm hungry enough and it's good enough. Like I just have no restraint whatsoever.
I feel like there's way worse things to have no restraint over. So,
Indeed, indeed.
absolutely no judgment for me on that.
But are you still generally like eating out with friends? Are are you seeing someone like I'm prying into your personal life a bit here, but hey, what else has not been exposed from you? So why not, right?
Yeah, it's basically all out there at this point
Yep.
from anyone who knows me.
Indeed, indeed. But okay, so $200 a week on food. I mean, I could see it happening, especially if you're eating out, every day for the most part. I mean, do you generally ever, have home cooked meals, or is it pretty much just every day you go out and get food?
Oh man, my mother makes the greatest arroz habichuela con carne.
Oh,
Let me tell you, boy.
okay. All right, for everyone is not aware or keen on the Spanish language, that's basically like a meat with rice kind of dish. It's quite good.
Rice, beans, and chicken. It is the flag of our people.
The flag. I've not eaten Dominican food. I'm not really well versed on Dominican cuisine. And I really like passed an opportunity to say Haitian cuisine there because that's one of your various memes surrounding you. All right. Let's see what's next to talk about. Let's talk about your presence slash performance in the recent Chatterbox Mafia, or not Chatterbox Mafia, the Alley Mafia game, which is basically a Chatterbox 3 Mafia game, where you starred as Fang, Blade of the Blender. What are your feelings about that game? I mean, I still haven't gotten around to the ratings. That's coming soon. A trademark term. And uh, yeah, how do you feel about the game?
It was absolutely awful. The town was awful. and they deserve to lose. And I couldn't be happier that they lost. But it also irks me that they lost to the most obvious scum in the world in Revan Reborn and Supreme Kage, who weren't even subtle about it. And for 5 days, that no one's led a lynch on them was incomprehensible in my mind.
It was definitely a very unfortunate series of events. What definitely didn't help is the fact that you were Masons with Chloe, so you were speaking with her in the Mason convo, and JJ's ability allowed him to tune in on PM combos. So he caught wind of you, saying, to get rid of someone. But what was actually happening is you were telling me to get rid of Melody, the co-host who I had added into the combo. And for whatever reason, JJ decided to embellish that truth and say that you were trying to get rid of him. JJ is known for these kind of, high risk, low to medium reward plays, and it did not pan out because, yeah, he accused the Mason, and Chloe was coming out full swinging in defense of that and painting JJ as scum, which resulted in him getting lynched, and, it was a whole mess dealing with you and, fucking, JJ, and then Underworld Brokers, frankly broken ability that I shouldn't have put for a whole bunch of new people in Mafia, and I really should have learned from my last lesson that being unlynchable is kind of not fun. Even if there's ways around it, it's really not a fun ability. So, lesson learned. You would someone who's hosted close to 100 games by now probably, continues to learn about Mafia and how to host it. But yeah, that was a game, all right. And
Yeah, in hindsight, for that phase, I mean, I'm plenty aware of JJ's high IQ strats, and I was of the opinion that he was town. I was just like, there's just no way JJ is just this obtuse. It just can't happen. And I suppose I should have, reeled Chloe in a little tighter, in regards to lynching JJ, because that was just like the turn for the rest of the game and the chain of events that happened from there.
yep,
But I mean, life called, and my activity in these games recently is well known, so
yep, it is what it
that just
is.
happened.
That said, yeah, lynching JJ on day two was definitely the beginning of the end for town, followed by Underworld Brokers. Um, Failed lynch on day three, using her ability to lynch you as the secondary lynch, and you were a fairly important role, whatnot, with being one of the only town roles that could kill. And I've mentioned this before, but not giving town a direct means of killing, rather giving you delayed kills or conditional kills, was definitely a big design flaw on my part. So, oops for that. Game obviously went on much longer than I thought it needed to be. I generally kind of like you lose interest in hosting games after 2 weeks more or less, days, 7 days, 8 days in game time. And that game went on what, like 10 days? Yeah, and then my previous game, the Chatterbox 2, ended in 8 days, so that was more or less a good time. But yeah, it wasn't fun, and people like kind of squandered their roles, and people enact the fact, and the roles were imbalanced. Some of them not very creative or intuitive, and but I think some people had fun, and I had fun for a brief period, so it's not like I regret it or anything. But yeah, that game was still a fucking disaster of a mess. And now we have the current vanilla game I'm hosting, which is very interesting. Everlong recently got lynched last day phase in it as a poor generic townie. Unlucky for him. I'm not going to ask him for his thoughts or anything because, players in that game still might be listening and his opinions might influence the state of the game, so we'll keep that ethical for now. But I think it's a lot of fun. And I don't think I'm going to host another one anytime soon. But maybe I can get some people who are generally more interested in Mafia now to play in the Mafia section, which has kind of been my objective from the start.
Yeah,
So,
I've taken a peek into the Mafia section a couple of times. Not made any posts or anything like that, but um, I don't know. Who knows? I might jump in on a game there at some point. I definitely deserved to be lynched this game because of how poorly I was playing. Uh, I had absolutely nothing to offer, and my death hasn't really provided them with any information. Like they haven't even mentioned me since. since my lynch. So I don't know what they got out of it, but hopefully something good. Yeah, I will say that it's interesting watching the game from the outside, though. Knowing some different things now. It's a different, reading the posts and seeing how people play.
Yeah, there's definitely a very interesting perspective that Omniscience gives the game, and
Yep.
it's very it's quite fun to see how everything plays out.
Uh
And
huh.
but it can also be very very tilting. Like as a person who's hosted countless games, when you watch like 20 or 30 people play and most of them are fucking idiots, like it just gives you like the most sharpest drop in your faith in humanity. Like I like now like I've never been religious, but now I understand if there is a god or was a god or what have you. Watching billions upon billions of people be fucking, mind-numbingly retarded would make them, absent for sure. So, I mean, if I
Wow.
lose my shit after, just a couple dozen people being dumb, then yeah, I can't blame, an absentee, grand cosmic sky daddy, you know, being an
I'll accept that analogy.
Yep, yep. All right, so that covers that. Let's see, what else are we missing here? Recent alley events. I'll go ahead and check the alley. Let's go see what's going on in recent times.
Doesn't the Threadstival ends tomorrow today,
Oh yeah, there is gonna be what?
October 5th?
There's gonna be a prune very soon, right? So am I gonna? Are we gonna lose my podcast thread? Are we gonna lose the?
No, no, no. The prune is on the 14th, but the Threadstival I think ends today. If today's the 5th, right?
Oh right, the thread
Yeah,
stable.
the Thread Festival ends today, so there is that. I didn't really play in it. I guess I didn't like try and make a thread every day, but there were so many people doing it anyway that, yeah,
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I would say
yeah,
that the Threadstival has definitely been somewhat of a success. I mean, the activity has been like definitely overwhelming. But for instance, I've become more acquainted with members that have always been there, who have just not been as I guess connected to. I would say I don't know if there's a better word I can use. There probably is, but it doesn't come to mind right now. But for instance, one example is I think Whitebeard is quite a good poster. He's posted some really good threads. He's made some
yeah.
pretty creative or witty posts, and I'm definitely a fan. Definitely,
I agree.
he's definitely stood out. And I believe
He
Santi
has
has known him
some
for quite some time. Where is he? From the Bleach Battle Dome convo or something like that, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Whitebeard and me go back since about 2013 from the BBD Convo group, where we had several users, including Avalon, who I met there as well.
All right.
So yeah, Whitebeard is definitely a great guy. We played WoW together. We've done a variety of different games and tasks and had conversations. The Bleach Battle Dome is one of the dozen of Discord groups I'm in, and me and him communicate frequently, and I'm very happy to see him, in the alley having fun.
Yep. He's definitely been very I would say it since the thread stuff started, he's probably been the overall strongest poster. Besides Everlong, of course, but I mean Everlong is like, in his own tier. For those who've read
Well, hey, don't inflate me so much. My last thread I think got like 8 posts and it like just died. So
Wait, what was your thread again? Something. Damn, I can't
it was
remember. Strong.
memes of 2000
Oh, tags,
memes
tags.
2019
Or it was like oh
or tags memes. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I
I
mean.
thought it was a great idea, but whatever. I'll bump it in like 2 years and it'll be hot then.
Yeah, well.
Because then it'll be 20. Because then it'll be 2020, and then we'll actually have like hot memes for 2019. So
Yeah. See, there you go. You're just too high level for us. You're thinking 10 years into the future, basically.
I don't know what you're gonna bump. That thread gonna get pruned, boy.
Oh man, some threads should never be pruned, like the list of 2 names. That must be eternal.
yes,
Yeah, we've already set up the internal archive section for the threads that won't be getting pruned. Kind of like how the blender blades worked. We have the dumpster now at the top of the section, which members should
Yeah.
be able to see. So, in regards to how we're going to go about selecting which threads get saved, that's a good question, and the optics of that still isn't worked out. But for things such as the Alley podcast, your Mafia game, I've already begun considering these threads and how they'll more or less get moved temporarily to another section before the purge happens.
Yep.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Indeed, indeed. All right, that's good to know. So basically, all of my threads, because I just constantly post great quality content, and yeah, that's how it is. Let me think. Jesus, I need some water. But all right, so the prune is gonna be happening. The Threadstable has been a success. As far as non-staff drama, what has perhaps stood out to you as far as that? I mean, can you really think of any incidents of non-staff drama lately? I think the drama has been relatively, quiet. People haven't really been shipping out too hard. Uh,
Yeah, it seems like everyone's been actually really well behaved with each other. There's not like I haven't seen. I personally haven't seen any instances of like actual, bickering or fighting or whatever in any of the threads. At least not in the alley.
Yep. Oh yes, Santi. I would like for you to unlock my worst poster in the alley thread because it's not flame bait or anything. I feel like I created that thread with a very constructive purpose of helping everyone become a better poster. Who may or may not be considered overall, not the highest quality posters. I gave Lena Shields some good advice on how to not be a bad poster. I, I mean, it may have been sneaky and underhanded in the way I made sure that Mary had gone to bed before I posted the thread. that may have been, kind of
That was pretty funny.
fucked up on my part, but
Mods are asleep. Post nudes, everyone.
Yeah, and then make like 30 new threads after that, so that it pushes them to the second page.
very clever, very clever. Oh, well done, Twitch chat. Well done, well done. Right. So the most recent and I would say high spectacle event of drama recently would indeed be the whole Mikja slash Mitten slash Serafio incident.
Oh right.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna talk about this without being provoked on it first, but since it has been brought up by the chat, I will give my thoughts on that. It's only fair. And my opinion on the whole thing is, yeah, he probably is lying. He probably is catfishing. He probably is using a friend's pictures. And I haven't really read the whole dossier on him, so I'm not really too aware of exactly to the extent of how he's been portraying himself to be someone else allegedly. But there was definitely a previous incident, like way earlier on, like I would say 2014 or so, where I had suspected him of being fraudulent, and yeah, it's pretty disappointing, especially since I had talked to him about a couple weeks ago, and I told him, look, man, I don't really care if you're faking your pics or pretending to be somebody else. I'm more or less, amused by your character overall, and I don't really intend to take anyone these days very seriously as far as being too personal with them. So just give it to me straight. Are you really this person? And he wants to keep up the charade with me. Maybe he is being truthful, but he has definitely not done anything to contradict the case against him. He could very easily post a picture of himself with a time-stamped message holding up on a piece of paper or something, but he says he won't do so, quote unquote, out of principle. So I'm just gonna shrug
Well, okay.
at that. It's it's a very unfortunate situation. And now he's taken a leave of absence from NF, and pretty much
Yeah.
the drama thread about it was pretty much covered up by the mods. And from
Hmm.
what I understand, the whole incident of the thread itself was kind of overshadowed by the fact that in order to acquire this information, he was doxxed, as in someone got his IP address and then used it to acquire the information about him. And the only way his IP address would have been reliably provided to him without some hacking or phishing or whatever savvy computer software means is by a mod providing that information. And most people would have said that our Aragi, otherwise known as Josuke slash Shane, was the one who did it, and he's kind of been the fall guy for that. But people are not exactly uh, sure about that. And from what I hear, there's still inquisitions into that. And if I recall, Santi, you were also being questioned for, being that person that provided the IP. I don't think it was you, but I mean, tell me how has that whole drama incident affected you as a staff member?
Well, I mean, in terms of the optics of it, I would, reasonably be a suspect in the case since, a lot of people are aware of my connections to the UFC and, me being part of that circle with both the UFC and the OLC for several years now. Uh, it's been a headache, actually.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I suppose it's simply a matter of an underlying issue I see in the infrastructure where there's a lot of people, within the who have access to the mod room who are, really unaccounted for. Basic cybersecurity principle is that the more people who have access to sensitive information, the more likely it is for that information to be leaked.
Indeed. I believe there has been some changes enacted or at least proposed that as of now, or not as of now, but as of since the incident, supposedly now mods don't have access to IP addresses anymore, and it's only admins. Is this true?
I believe it's supermods and up.
And up. Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's just admins. I think temporarily only the admins had access to it for a while, yeah, but I think it was reinstated for supermods as well.
Indeed, I would imagine it's kind of necessary for super mods at since they're the main enforcers of the forum, especially as far as checking dupes goes and all that. You kind of need to match IP addresses and whatnot. So it would be very difficult for there to be any successful modding of that to happen if only admins have access. And as we're all aware, whew, the admins have been either otherwise absent or intertwined in some serious power struggles. Let me think. 90 previously an admin has been off that for a while. Ying was not an admin for. I mean, he was an admin obviously, but then he like kind of like went into retirement, but he was forced to come back due to the absence of active admins trying to make things work. Pre has been inactive for a long, long, long time, a couple years now, and then he recently had this thing with Trinity, and then got de-admin. Uh, Jammies, I'm not sure when Jammies went inactive, but yeah, he apparently went inactive as well. Resner, pretty much the main admin of NF for quite some time, but never really asserted his authority. Kind of absent, I would imagine as well, because I haven't really seen his presence on the forum in recent times either. So yeah, the whole admin class structure right now, from my perspective at least, is severely lacking. And the way,
Seems really unstable.
yeah, definitely for sure. And the way I imagine that's going to work, plan out, and I don't have any information on this whatsoever, and I can tell you that with complete sincerity and being genuine, is I imagine they're going to promote a new admin soon, and I'm very, very weary on who that might be. But I mean, then again, I'm thinking about active supermods or people qualified supermods, and I can't really think of a whole great deal of them either. Like the one that I would say from the staff perspective, who would have been a good choice would have been White Wolf, even though I personally have not liked White Wolf's presence on the staff ever since he became staff. You know, and there's no secret that I wasn't exactly fond of him as a poster either. But I've kind of mellowed out towards him in recent times, and he seems to have quit over the whole pre-end Trinity debacle either. But he was like the closest person that I would imagine as a supermod would have been admin, especially considering his prior credentials to being modded was he was the admin of a previous forum, so that lends itself to being qualified in that regard as well. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the leadership of the forum is looking like right now. I don't know what the plans are. Santi seems to be not completely pessimistic about it, so which is maybe that's a good sign. But then again, maybe Santi's just a fucking sellout. And he's just shilling the staff. What do we know? How can we figure this out? But yep, that's my whole thoughts on the subject. Everyone, what are your thoughts? As someone who's not been connected to staff drama throughout your entire tenure in NF, and now you're finally somewhat connected to the community, and you see all this crazy fucking schisms going out. What's the deal?
Well, so I guess I'll jump back to the Serafiel thing because that's where this all kind of stemmed from with the IP leaks and all that. As far as that goes, I don't really give a fuck. Like I, the number of people on the internet that give false information is ridiculous. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, how many people on NF have provided 100% accurate information about themselves to everybody? And I understand that it's like to an extreme extent, like where he essentially adopted another person's life, or at least that's the accusation. Um,
That's a serious
you
risk.
know, there I explained it. Where was it? I remember I was talking to someone or something, but I said, I can imagine being like a younger kid, giving some false information, maybe because you didn't want to give your own information because you're young or whatever, and then or maybe you just don't feel good about yourself, so you fake some other shit to make yourself seem cooler, and then for years you are on this forum, and then you've just sort of built this identity for yourself that you've been stealing from the kid that you thought was cooler than you. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but if I think about it like that, you know, whatever, man. As far as I could tell, he was never a dick or anything, so I
Yeah,
don't really see what the big deal is.
maybe not now NF necessarily, but I would say most people on NF at some point in their internet careers have lied about something about themselves. I mean, when I first got
Oh
on the
yeah,
internet, when I was like 13 years old or something like that, AOL, chat rooms, all that jazz, I was 13, but I was on the internet 19 years old, which was probably not very convincing now that I think about my interactions back then.
yeah.
I definitely claimed to be older than who I was. I believe I also made some said some minor lies about myself when I first joined NF. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, other than that, I've been very truthful for years now. Oh, except for one thing, a major lie. I'm gonna come clean now, guys. I'm
What's
actually
up?
I'm actually not a virgin. I'm like a turbo Chad. I fuck like 3 chicks every day. I mean, and guys too. You know,
Wow.
and I don't mean like
Damn.
guys and chicks. I mean like they're both like the same individual as a guy and a chick. And I fuck three of
I
them
can
every day.
understand why you'd want to keep that a secret.
I mean, I just don't want people to feel bad about themselves. Like people's,
Yeah.
sexual,
No,
activity.
I do. I do feel bad about myself now.
I mean, people's sexual activities is a very sensitive subject for most, and I just wanted to be the champion of people who not getting none, so that they can feel better about themselves for it. But it's time to to come out clean. You know.
Well,
Champion of the disenfranchised.
yeah, and my whole world comes crashing down.
I
I
mean,
mean, there's just about a star in the sky for every person on the internet that's construing their identity in some way or form. It's,
Yeah.
I'd never really understood it. I think I've been mostly transparent, regarding things in my life and who I am. I understand why people, wouldn't want to have their identity out there. I mean, it's a perfectly logical, feeling to have. But the whole thing of catfishing and using other people's pictures, it's a rabbit hole that'll just won't really do you any favors in the long run.
hmm but at the same time, while a lot of people do lie about themselves in some way, it's not really too much of a detachment from how people operate in real life too, which is also a lie about themselves. It's just not as easily. For example, you can't lie about things in your physical appearance in real life because you're presenting yourself in the physical realm. But you can definitely
Yeah.
lie about any other thing that has nothing to do with your appearance or your image in real life. So there's that as well. So it's not too different. And I would say most people who do lie on the internet or in app or whatever, it's gonna be minor lies at best. For example, Santi's saying he's Dominican when in fact he's Haitian. So, it's pretty much on the same island, Hispaniola. So it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
not big,
definitely.
not a big
It's close
difference.
enough.
Yep.
I mean, everyone has a persona online that they more or less, either subconsciously or consciously, keep up. We
Yep.
all want to feel, part of the inside group. We want to, be friends with people. We want to be liked. Uh, Humans are weird, complex creatures.
Yep. I mean, as far as I go, people know me now to be a very charismatic, outspoken person on NF. And the truth of the matter is, that's not really too different from real life. But the thing is, I don't really present myself, especially in recent years where my social life has been reduced to almost nothing. It's mostly just going to work, and I'm obviously in a working
Adult things.
yeah, yeah, and in a working environment, you can't be as unfiltered as I like to be. So I'm definitely a lot more reserved in that sense. I'm not going off calling people autists. Can you imagine? Although I do let myself slip sometimes with some of my coworkers and colleagues and whatnot there at times. So I actually have to be more careful because I have said some pretty raunchy things, and, and I've definitely leaked my power level. People are now asking me to play Dungeons and Dragons in real life. People are asking me if I go on 4chan. It's quite bad. I mean, I definitely referred to someone as a beta cuck in front of someone else. They were like, "Whoa, whoa, what the hell? I would have never expected that coming from you." And I was like, "Oh, geez, I just fucked up there, didn't
Yeah, it's a big mistake.
I?" So yeah, but I would say my presence, at least on NF in the last few years, is definitely an accurate representation of myself. No memes aside, and it's just really, I would say, an exaggerated person, or not exaggerated, an exaggerated persona of who I really am. But it's just something that I can't effectively do in real life for various reasons. Like I said, being limited by work, not having my own social, uh, flourishing environment there. But overall, it's amusing. As hilarious as it sounds, am overall satisfied with my social interactions online and on NF. It's not really just limited to NF, but and as a result, I don't feel like I need any nourishment socially in real life. I get along with people. I talk to people. People try to get me to go out, not all the time, but I mean my friends in real life that I've kind of like ghosted on for quite some time. At least try once a month to get me to do something, and every now and then I do. I'll, go to the movies or go to their house and just chill. But I am definitely a hard introvert at heart, and just interacting with people, like actually interacting with people, is exhausting. So that's how it goes for me. But yep, it's been fun there. All right, so we're gonna be wrapping up the podcast in the next 5 minutes. Is there anything else that you guys feel like you want to talk about, or chat you want to hear us talk about? We have about 5 minutes to go.
Mm, I have absolutely nothing to offer.
Oh, excellent. What a strange sensation. Usually you have everything to offer, as you are basically the savior of the alley. Sorry to elevate you once again, but you were the member of the month of September, so
Well, you said that on live air, and no one said no to it, but that doesn't necessarily make it true.
well, Whitebeard, like I said earlier, is definitely coming in hot to be the contestant for this month.
Yeah, I would say he's a high nomination for that.
Yeah. All right. So some of the questions from chat is, how do you feel about well-known leakers not telling people telling people not to leak? Hypocrites will always exist. People contradict themselves also all the time. So that's well addressed. Any changes on NF coming soon from HR? Santi, do you want to touch on that at all? As best as you can.
Aside from the entire reconstruction of the staff model and the hierarchy, there's not really much else going on right now. I mean, aside from individual changes that mods are doing, trying to create more activity, more fun things to do, like banner contests and whatnot. But that's really it. I've been a little disconnected from the HR the past few days due to real life reasons.
All right, fair enough. I want to give my input on that. If you guys end up revamping the advisor system, which hopefully is one of the models that you should touch on. And by the
I
way,
will. I'll tell you right now. That's absolutely one of them.
good. Okay, but on that note, don't even think about asking me to do it. I would obviously be the most qualified person, like by far, and in the past I have expressed my interest in it. But you guys burned that bridge several years ago, so I will not forgive that. I am a very forgiving and magnanimous person, and I don't hold grudges easily. But the staff has definitely created an enemy out of me, in that specific thread that everyone can, pretty much find and identify. So nope, either Wadman or Super Wad or colon can be, to be honest. That's how it goes. So okay, that's good. Yeah, because definitely retired staff should not have the power, privilege, or perks that they do. It's
Yeah, I
not.
don't think they should. If you're not a staff member, why would you have any staff member abilities?
Yep, and it just fosters the
Doesn't
environment of where you can easily step
I've
down
never
and
seen
go
that before.
inactive, and you don't really lose anything out of it because you
I
can.
didn't I didn't even know that existed until like a week or two ago. I guess probably during one of these incidents. But yeah, I don't get that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely more subtle in the past because I think before all the retired staff only had like a maroon name, and it wasn't really clear that they were retired. Like most people would even realize like what a red name,
I mean,
meant.
they were delegated to advisor status. Advisor was the retirement
Yeah,
status for mods, and now they're like, well, now we're gonna distinguish that and make the retired staff what's it called, user group. So now advisors is completely not utilized, and retired staff is just where everybody gets to quote unquote stop working and enjoy all the benefits. Some people even get to keep their band powers and all these other administrative powers while being quote unquote retired, and that's fucking absolutely ridiculous. If
Yeah,
if I were to get any words in to HR right now, I would say take away all their fucking perks. You can keep the title of being retired staff, but make them effectively a normal member. It's ridiculous that he can see user notes. It's ridiculous they can have all the other mod privileges, seeing online users, all that shit. Absolutely fucking dumb. Make them, if they want to be staff or connected to the staff, let them be an advisor or actual staff. Retired staff should just literally be there for the nomenclature. Fucking delete their privileges now. Like, right fucking now. Like, go into HR and say, it's enough. Like that's actually so fucking dumb, and I really don't see why there has to be a fucking logistical nightmare of waiting for weeks of discussion, and everyone chiming in. No, it should be a unilateral decision that Resner or whoever should just be like, all right, done. The user group is now basically normal members with the fucking title. That's it. Simple. Boom.
Wad, do you want to tell us how you really feel?
Yes. Fucking uh, mods equals fags, and I will
hey,
not accept in a position of an advisor or being modded ever. And until recently, I would have only accepted being admin. But as it comes to my attention, being admin as a normal member is extremely hard because MBXX needs to know who you are. So I will gladly accept becoming a super mod, and then we can work up being admin in a couple months or something. That's fine. But get that shit going. Stop being dumb. Super mod me. Save NF. Done. Boom. Fucking hands in the air. You can't see it. I should,
mic drop.
maybe I should start webcamming for this stream soon. Why the hell not, right? So, uh, but yeah, as far as that goes, all right, this podcast is wrapping up. Actually, I want to say that I have some plans in the future, not related to Mafia games and the podcast. And one of them that's come to mind recently is I'm kind of interested in a karaoke night for the alley, so to speak. And
Oh no.
I think that would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to getting absolutely, blasted by Mary, who's apparently, god tier, with fucking music. So that's
Well, I already know what song I'm gonna sing.
yep, fucking Smash Mouth. It's been a while. Dot.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, that's good. If you're gonna do
That's been a while.
karaoke, you gotta have one song that you'll always go to that you know you won't absolutely suck at.
Yep. Or if you fucking generally suck at singing or music in general, just put on voice impressions like that I do, and just do it ironically for comedic effect. Can't go wrong with that either. All right. Well, that's gonna wrap things up for now. It's a shame that the first 15 minutes was forever lost in the annals of time, thanks to my own incompetence. But we recovered pretty well off that, and we've I think produced an overall quality cast with I would say some very good interactions and information. I want to thank Santi for coming on here. Appreciate it a lot, my man.
It
Yeah,
was my
man.
pleasure.
Absolutely.
Good to have you on.
And I'll be seeing you in about a month for our new campaign and Dungeons and Dragons session. That should be real fun, I would say.
New campaign
Well, I mean, we've had like an
or
intro.
just a new session?
It's the same campaign, but it's like the serious part now because basically we've been playing like an introductory. To the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it'll be interesting.
Gotcha.
Santi was recently killed in our campaign, so.
Yes, you shared with me the clip from the stream
it,
of
it,
that. Remember?
it was
Listen, we don't talk about this.
it was quite good. It was quite good. But that's gonna wrap things up now. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks Santi for being here. Thank you Everlong for being the straight man to my the foil to my wait. How does that comedic interaction go? One's the foil, one's the wait.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Comedic dual foil.
10?
Does
You're
it,
googling it. You're googling
hell
it.
yes, I'm googling it. Foil.
Okay.
GG.
What's the other one? Someone tell me in chat. It's definitely. Oh, it is the straight man. The straight man in the foil, right?
I have no idea what that is.
Wait, no, the straight man is the foil, right? Shit, I don't know. Anyways, okay, whatever. Fuck it. Thank you,
Moment
Everlong.
ruined.
Thank you,
Way
Everlong.
to go, Wad.
Thank you, Everlong, for being based. I appreciate it. And that wraps up the cast, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you like this episode. And we'll see you next week, same time.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
All right, take care.
Peace, niggas.